Hello everybody, this is part 2, episode 14. Hope you were waiting. No, I don't know. Hope someone was waiting. Alright, yeah, we had someone watching. Okay, cool. So we're going to continue with what we were doing, which is integrating the bus code with the Lisp code, and yeah, so we'll get started pretty quickly here. We might not get to, well, we have to get the CFFI working. Before we do that, we're going to fix all the Lisp errors and so on. I'm just going to copy the link in a couple places, and then we'll be good to go. Paste it for whatever. Alright, so I got help with those macros, like I was describing earlier. So these def C funds definitely work, which is awesome. Which means that our CFFI is interlinked, but these obviously aren't functional right now, so it doesn't really do anything necessarily. So we want to get it working. I want to fix all the other errors in the Lisp code, so that way most of the problems are non-existent. Actually, it was redefinitions, but we still have some errors going on. I have to carefully lift my teacup. It's filled to the brim. Okay. That's very hot. Ow, 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 ow. Alright. So, we're gonna get some music going. Actually, I'm doing. Oh, okay, I know what we can do. So the point of this is I'm making a CDN for my Media Center project. This is a blog article written by someone about this project. I'll link it in the chat. And what this is it's a Media Center for people sharing content, and it's going to be a federated network of content. And the reason I need to create my own CDN is because I want to have something called owned buckets, which is that a user has complete control over the file storage, in the sense that, in the same way that well, basically the JavaScript is going to communicate directly with the CDN rather than the JavaScript communicating with my server and then the CDN. So it's directly invoked through there, and Yeah, so if content is uploaded, like an image file or something like that, it gets uploaded directly to the CDN, and basically the content always gets deleted, and they have complete control over the permissions of the content, and so you don't even need to trust the API to really do that. I mean, I'm not sure why you wouldn't trust it, but the point is, it's a lot more user-facing than other CDNs. The intention is that users own their own buckets, and that bucket could be an arbitrary URL. It could be really anywhere. And all the Media Center does for like hosted files, they're just file URLs, you know, image URLs, instead of it being that those images are handled, you know, by the app or whatever. It's all like on the CDN. So anyway, kind of rambling here. Okay. So we're gonna fix these Lisp errors just before we get to finishing the CFFI. I got the test working for the C++ code once again. So now all the C++ code is correctly using futures. It's actually not really correctly using it. I'll elaborate on that in just a sec here. So, we really just, we already get the bucket and then we assign it to a problem or a promise. So this doesn't really do much. If we doesn't really help, like in terms of overhead, is what I mean. So anyway. So we're just trying to emulate what it will be like when we have it fully asynchronous, fully threaded. Until then, we're just kind of pretending that it works asynchronously. But registry has to be, instead of a unique pointer, it has to be a mutex. So this will kind of lock, or at least, well, the point is that there's multiple upload sessions, and they all need to have a lock on the registry file in case a bucket gets created or something like that. And we'll deal with that later. We're not really dealing with concurrent connections quite yet. Obviously, that's kind of a requirement because multiple people could be uploading a file at the same time, or multiple people could be requesting different files within the same bucket, etc. So that's all going to be dealt with. But for now, we're just going to get the simplest example working possible, or the simplest example we can. Alright, so what we want to do, we're going to jump back into Lisp code. Alright, so these are the CFFI methods that we deal with. I kind of changed the flow of it. We're not actually getting the bucket ID quite yet. Okay. I'll be right back.
Stepping out of the shadows like nothing that I've seen before. Just for a moment, take my eyes off you, and I can't see straight anymore. A ray of light through the dark, like 1,000 burning suns. You take my hand and you hold me close, and it joins a hard times war. If it wasn't for you.
Actually, we get the file name from the method directly. right here. So with prepare upload, we actually want to set up the session here, and we don't want to actually like allocate a session. Hold on. We have to look up the session. So we're using the Wookiee web server. Oh, how do we get the request arguments out? Request URI. Well, it's okay. We have to add here. Okay. so we're gonna make a hash table that has the open sessions somewhere, right? So it's gonna be def parameter. Okay, it's gonna be make hash table. Let's call it upload sessions. And basically when we prepare an upload, what we're going to do is we're going to right here we're going to assign an arbitrary ID. We're just going to dim sim here. Actually, wait a minute. We don't want to do that. We want to say, well, yeah, the problem is we want that to be serializable as an integer. I guess an integer is not a good representation anyway. Let's see. Hey, yeah, I'm building a CDN. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat real quick. Yeah. Yeah, it's all open source. Except the Lisp code isn't online right now. I just got lazy. I have a homepage. It should be on the channel info. Super useful. Yeah, we'll see. Nice. Yeah. I think it will be useful. I agree. Of course I would agree. Okay. Alright, we're going to do JSON response. Actually, I'm hoping to get rich from this. Yeah, you're gonna be wrong. Why isn't it? Oh, wait a minute. Why is JSON response not showing up there, huh? Okay. I think by default maybe it's something that was correct. Oh, okay. Okay. Probably empty anyway. Alright, so we want to have this on first for the request. Right? So part of the CDNs in C++, that's the part that's public. That's all the internal file storage stuff. The reason why I chose Lisp is because it's very expressive, and it has this library has this HTTP server has a very good macro called with chunking, and it allows me to do chunked file uploading relatively easily. And Lisp is just comfy. I don't know. It's just I think it's well suited for this because you know, it has an HTTP server that's relatively fast. It's not like blazing fast or anything. Well, I mean, Lisp is a compiled language, you know. It's not that slow. It's about as fast as Java, you know. Like, I mean, I'm sure AWS has a ton of stuff written in Java. But basically, there's not really a good C++ HTTP server that handles chunked like requests in a like intuitive manner. Really, the only like, well, yes, Common Lisp is about as fast as Java. Yes, that is true. SBCL is, that is, and that's the implementation I'm using. It's, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. The problem with those Alioth benchmarks is that they force you to use a certain algorithm, and certain algorithms are just not that, you know, they're not necessarily, basically they force you to do it the same way for each language. And so, you know, certain algorithms aren't necessarily the best to do in Common Lisp. But anyway, it's about as fast as Java. Probably less memory usage too. I could be wrong, I don't know. Common Lisp, you know, it's been around. So this is it's called Wookie. There's like, the cool thing is even though Wookie isn't really an active project, Common Lisp is so stable that a project that was updated, I think this web server was last updated like 4 years ago. Literally, like it hasn't been, this server hasn't been updated in like 4 years. The thing about Common Lisp is like any code like works. You know, like throughout its lifetime, it pretty much works because the Common Lisp standard hasn't changed in like 20 years, so, or longer. Anyway, I mean, this wouldn't be as fast as like a Java servlet. I don't think so, or I don't think it would be in there. I don't think it'd be as fast as like a servlet, because those are just heavily optimized. Like this is some web server some dude wrote, you know. But I mean, it's like, yeah. There's a faster one that's not very stable, but it's very readable. Is my main like thing with this. Where's that part? I think that works. Body like that. Or is it not CLOS? It might not be CLOS. Kind of weird. To look at the wiki source for the post button. Yeah, there's like 10 issues, but I think all of them are really like feature requests and whatnot. I don't know. I need to look at examples now. I think what happened, maybe this guy made this columnist web server and then he started using Clojure or something. Or maybe not, I don't know. No, I don't think. Never mind about that. this is what we're going to do. Unfortunately, parsing JSON isn't the most intuitive thing here. Oh, wait. We also want to validate. We kind of want to validate that too, though. So, let me say. Data. But we're not going to immediately going to parse it. We're going to make sure it's valid JSON first, so that we don't get an error. JSON parse. I think that's too. Okay. Yeah, closure's great. I don't know. No, I mean, like, you want to be, this is the thing, right? This is what I'm talking about with common Lisp. Like, most of the time, you're right. Like, if code hasn't been touched in 4 years, it's generally a bad sign in the web world. But, you know, like, the language isn't changed. It hasn't changed at all, right? Like, and people are definitely using this server for some stuff. And, you know, so it's stable code, and like the thing is, it being open source, if there's anything you need to add, Wiki is like really plugin based, it seems, and so that's a really good thing, because like the functionality is all like modular, you know, and it's very minimal. I probably won't use the Wiki forever. I found that it was good for like rapidly making this, because it had that macro that I needed, which is the chunked files. Yeah. So, I mean, but like, what is there? Right? Yeah, I mean, you're right. All of that has changed, but it's like, there's only 2 methods for this entire API, right? Which is the chunked, upload chunked, and prepare upload. There will be more. Well, the HTTP parsers, I don't think he wrote the HTTP parser. Someone else did, and that's a more well-maintained, up-to-date library. So basically, this library isn't necessarily up to date, but the libraries it depends on are, and those are pretty stable APIs, I think. Oh, we don't need to. Oh, what do we do? So wait, JSON, we do want to store, I think they would use using something like that. Okay. So oh, wait a minute, that's supposed to be fonts. I'm messing it up again. Session ID. Okay, no, we don't need that. That's supposed to be. That's supposed to be a hash table with all the information about the request. So it's this right here. But actually, no, session ID. But like, no, I see what you mean with like, I mean, like I'm not a corporation though, you know what I mean? Like, I can just do what I want, you know, I'm one guy writing this, and if it goes big, it goes big, then there's other concerns, you know. Well, in this case, I'm not really reinventing the wheel because S3 and all those other solutions don't suit my needs. Basically, the idea with TinyCDN is that you will be able to download a torrent file with your bucket. So basically, or that's the long-term goal, but basically, users own buckets on the CDN rather than the app controlling a bucket. The app simply, you know, try to explain. It's a different power relationship. Like, basically with the CDN does not know about the app, right? It knows about the buckets. The problem with S3 is that you have like a huge bucket for one app. And so that's like all or nothing, you know? Like, Whereas I have a kind of idea that basically the user owns their bucket. I don't know how else to explain it. It's kind of, but it's an important distinction, you know. So users can create their own buckets on the CDN directly. Okay. So basically, unless there's a session, well, if there is a session, then that this gets ignored. This is just error handling. No, well, it is a CDN. It's a content delivery network, but it serves a specific purpose, which is user-facing data. Okay, it's still storing content, but it's not like. Basically, the user is in control of the replication process or policy and all that stuff, and the app will provide defaults for all that. So what I mean is well, it's not user-facing data. What I mean is so you have these things called public buckets, and then you have these things called owned buckets. And basically, public buckets, as long as a file fits into one of these, the current policy is as long as a file fits into one of these public buckets, it will be thrown in there. Unless they're requesting that they have their own bucket, which is, a certain bucket that user owns. And the idea is so if we look at Media Center, this is the article about Media Center. You can read about it if you want. The idea is like, for example, with any of these topics or images or whatever, when I upload an image, I have something called a feed, and I also have these things called stashes. And the idea is that people can stash their content on these stashes, and each stash will have its own bucket. Or if it's a group, then that's like a public bucket. And so there's going to be like a cloning policy. So some stashes will have a different replication strategy. So for instance, basically most CDNs operate on this model, which is that they have it so basically you don't have a choice whether something's geo-replicated or not. The idea for most CDNs is you replicate the file maybe like 5 different times or however many times based on how hot the file is, and it replicates it across the the world or whatever. Basically with Media Center, I'm going to have something called geolocation. So what's going to happen is you'll be able to have a feed of content that's local. So basically you'll be able to restrict content to people that live or are within like 100-mile radius or however far away. And basically, if it's restricted to people that are within 100-mile radius or however far away, then why would there be why would there be replication? You understand what I mean? Like, if the content is restricted to people that live in the state of California or in the vicinity of there, why would I clone that file for someone in Europe when they're not even supposed to be seeing that content? See what I mean? And so I would end up paying the price for geo-replicated files that don't need to be geo-replicated. And that's yeah, I'm totally redefining the term bucket. Buckets will be actually quite different from like most CDNs. Privacy, yeah, privacy is an interesting concern. Privacy is an interesting concern because, so it's impossible to do privacy on file requests. if you've just given a URL. But if the file is requested using, instead of a GET request with a POST request and an authentication key, so basically I actually need to create a capability system. So it's called the object capability model. And there's going to be restricted URLs because the files exist within the app mostly, and the difference with a private file is obviously it can't be accessed outside of where it's supposed to be accessed, and thus you need authentication, which is difficult with a simple GET request. So you'll have to have a token. Right now there's not going to be really much privacy. I mean, I do want to encrypt files. I actually want to use Blake encoding, which is a really fast encryption algorithm. And to address the point about peer-to-peer file sharing, someone on Twitch saying, yeah, there's like 3 chats. There's one on YouTube, well, the YouTube one's dead, but there's the Twitch. I have like 3 IRC channels I'm talking to people on. So it's not clear who I'm talking to. That's why. We have peer-to-peer file sharing, but the problem is BitTorrent is not hyperlinked. So the problem is that you have all these torrents all over the web, and there's nothing connecting them except these trackers. And these trackers, they don't have like a directory. And so basically what TinyCDN is supposed to do is it will be able to serialize a bucket as a torrent file. And the cool thing is that since a bucket can be serialized as a torrent file, what that means is that what it means is that all the metadata associated with those files is also there. So basically, it's impossible to shut down any node, because basically that node can self-replicate to a different, location. And like, there can be blacklists for content, but the whole idea is that if someone really wants to, they can create a private walled garden of their own that still interfaces with the outside world, but has its own internal private storage. And so the torrent file is so that people can, theoretically speaking, sync their file bucket with their hard drive. So I'd be able to download whatever I have online in a torrent file, and basically, well, anyway, that's the eventual goal is a desktop client that makes this a lot better, but that's going to require a lot of money and a lot of time. That's the vision. That's the vision. Okay, it would take a long time to do. Anyway. So, anyway, I'm talking too much. Alright, I think about this. So this is why. So it's actually it's the hyper reality network, basically. That's what I'm calling it. It's kind of a funny name, hyper reality network. The idea is you have these things that define user content at a like meta information level. So like if you think back to the web when meta tags actually mattered, the problem is people would abuse the meta tags, right? They would add way too many meta tags to a web page, and they all just became meaningless because you would just spam a bunch of meta tags. But if you had a system that could determine like entropy of or like reliability, basically it turns into a search engine that's completely configurable by the user. So like Google doesn't allow you to configure their algorithm, and that's a huge problem. Is they probably have some internal like thing for the higher ups where you can like configure the search algorithm, but they don't want to let you do that because you'd be able to get some pretty crazy information. But anyway, I'm not trying to like recreate Google, but what I'm saying is that by making the CDN a Lisp system, it's very like set up so that it can be queried in the future very easily, at least I think so. And you can't really do, you know, someone's thinking like, oh, well, why don't you just use like SQL or some kind of database? And you can't really do that because then it becomes centralized. And then it can't be synced up to a torrent file. So that's why everything is like a flat file. Anyway, rem hash. So by removing the hash from the upload session, that will trigger garbage collection on the upload session, which will then destroy the C struct. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. Do I mean something like in Serial Experiments Lane? It's actually my favorite anime of all time. But maybe you could elaborate. Because I sort of know what you mean, but it's been I don't know what you mean by that entirely. I can kind of guess, but I don't know. I don't want to say yes, because then it sounds like I don't know. It would sound like I understand what you mean, but I don't really. Oh, we don't need that left here. Or if you mean like the wired, then yeah, kind of like that. But basically, so the problem also with so the direction that a lot of the web is going right now, they're trying to make it like the new thing, like Web 3.0. Is they want to like blockchain everything. But the problem with like IPFS and all these other ones is you have something called the right to be forgotten, and so it's impossible to take a global network and implement that kind of thing because you're just storing like. I don't intend to make a global network. I intend to make a decentralized network, and so it doesn't have to be global. And so it is based on trust. A lot of it's trust. It's not trustless. But I think trustless is kind of hard. And I don't want a global network. There's no purpose to that. Like, in my opinion, it doesn't make sense to have content all over the world if that content doesn't need to be in 10 different locations. That just makes sense to me. I don't know. IPFS, you can't delete content. It's impossible. They have methods of doing so, but they're not very reliable. I don't even think that you can. All the blockchain CDNs are bullshit. They're totally lying. None of it works. And trust me, I looked into it. All of them are written in Go. They're all like, oh yeah, it works, and like, nope, it doesn't. So they're all proof of concepts. I'm kind of rambling, but I'm trying to think. Well, I'm trying to code and explain what I'm doing at the same time from a general point of view. Okay, I think that's good. So, oh, we need an error handle if this isn't a valid JSON, basically. Okay. So I don't know how to test that. gonna look into the song library. Present day. Present time. Is there... How do I... Okay, I don't know if it'll maybe move here. Okay, so basically it's gonna parse the JSON, it's gonna assign a session, and actually we kind of want What's SO? Huh? Yeah, I sort of know what you're talking about. It's just kind of hard to remember. I haven't watched it in a long while. With representation, like, I don't think visually it's the same because it's gonna be on the web, you know. So it's like basically like HTML and JavaScript kind of. I mean, so it won't look the same visually, but it's kind of. I guess it is kind of the same concept. The idea is that there are these representations that are kind of decided by consensus. So there's not really a consensus protocol yet. That's a major problem actually. But it's going to start out as a monolithic service, and then it's going to turn into hopefully a federated protocol that anyone can host a node for. Because there's going to be a lot of legal complications with, like, oh, you know, you can't have terrorist content on your website, and I don't want to be responsible for all that, you know. I mean, that's assuming it even gets to that, like, level of popularity. But anyway, so session gets this. Okay, and that's not actually that. So, it's not an upload session map, it's actually, wait a minute, alright, so in file bucket, instead of assigning the session to rec JSON, I'm going to just close this out here. Basically right now it only has an ID and a pointer for the session, which is pretty much useless, but we're going to add another field here for the request data. Let's see. That's actually part of make or file meta. So that's how it's gonna be. Basically, all the meta information on the file is stored in that payload. And so what we're going to do, we are going to create the content file earlier on. Wait a sec. We by default created. We do it in upload content, but we want to do that elsewhere. So I'm going to do this. So the upload session is going to have the content file like on the instance itself. I think that's better. And the reason why is so that we can access where and then okay, so basically here we're going to make an instance of upload session, and we're going to make the content file made instance with the file meta being what's in the request. Okay, and essentially this is wait a minute. Okay. Right. Yeah. So this is going to put all the meta information into direct data. Also, I'm open to contributors. If anyone wants to contribute to this project, I'm open to it. Right now it's under a liberal license, but... Or no, it's AGPL, it's not a liberal license. I might change it, I don't know. I'm kind of frustrated, so like, you know, I want to get paid for all this. You know? It's like, hard. I don't want to MIT license this and then have someone make tons of money off of it. It's like, hey, I made that. We probably should get back to the FFI. I was just fixing this up. Because we changed up how things are working. Oh yeah, we were gonna do file uploads with web workers. What's actually cool about web workers is you can concurrently, I could concurrently take a file and like parse it into 4 chunks and then concurrently upload it to like 4 different URIs. And that'd be cool. But that puts more load on the server, so I'm not really sure yet about that. What else do we need in content file? We don't have anything there. It's nil. Okay, so file info, instead of a hash table, we might want to make that a struct. Like so. Alright, I think I adequately fixed this up. I'm not going to run it quite yet. I need to fix up this stuff first. Oh wait, wait a minute before we do that. Position, bucket, make instance bucket. Oh, that's the get temporary file name that we're supposed to call it. Yeah, damn, because if we have two temp files of the same name or two uploads occurring with the same name, then we kind of have to deal with it as we can't just directly upload it to temp, I guess. What we could do is we could create a gensim. Well, we don't want to like create a different directory for it. You know, for each session. Kind of, well. I'll just make that a note for now. Git hash, okay, get the file name from I really should be using it as a strip, probably. Yeah, that should work out. Oh wait a minute, wait. No, that's not right. First of all, it's not hash. Okay, so that should work out. Well, we could do is have like the file name in here, but I don't want that. What could handle streaming specifically? Sorry, I didn't see your message. Like you mean the request? The chunking is streamed, yeah. If you mean like live streaming, probably not. The protocols for live streaming are really complicated. So like live video is really bandwidth. Like pretty much everyone doing live video. So I was gonna have video chat. I got like really close to finishing video chat in Media Center, but turns out everybody doing that is losing money. Even Twitch loses money. They just you just lose money. So I can't really do that. Undefined variable content. That's it. Okay. Oh, we don't need that, do we? Temp file. Oh wait, never mind. That looks it. That's file info. Oh, that's a list. Yeah, that's right. Okay. That's fine. Temp file. File name. Uploaded content. It's on the file bucket method. Actually, file bucket isn't really. It's not. I don't think we really need file bucket. Yeah, we don't actually use this. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just a lot of bandwidth. You know, they were saying like WebRTC was going to be the future because you could do like peer-to-peer video. Turns out it's pretty much a lie. You can do peer-to-peer video with WebRTC, but the problem is that most people have firewalls, so it doesn't really work. And then there's also something called WebTorrent. WebTorrent would be the way to do that, where someone's watching a live stream and rather than I don't know if it works with live streams though. That would be the way to do it, because then people share with one another that are watching it, and it works through WebRTC. But I don't know if it has the same problem with like you know, having to like port forward and stuff. Well, I didn't create my submission, so I'm doing another comfy Lisp programming stream tomorrow morning. So if you guys have time, it's not going to be this project, it's going to be my WikiFi project. God, I have way too many tabs open. I just have 32 gigs of RAM, so I just have a ton of tabs open. And I don't really care. That's why I'm doing the project WikiFi. My intention is with Project Wikify, I will take all my open tabs and create it to convert it to an org mode file. And so what I'm doing tomorrow morning is I'm creating a cache for my tabs, and basically whenever I go on this little wiki file, I'll be able to like view downloaded HTML, sort of like the add-on Storybook Pro for Firefox, but it's a Lisp system. So I'll be able to like query stuff, and I'll be able to do really cool stuff. And as soon as I get Wikify into a decent state, I'm going to do an experiment where I go without internet for like a week and just use my wiki. And I'll see what happens from that, because I think there's a lot of content that I have in my personal wiki that I haven't really like had the time to sort through and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to basically not use internet for an entire week to really test how well, you know, it works, and to kind of catch up on stuff that I probably should catch up on. I mean, that might end up not like happening anyway, because like there's certain things like I do need the internet for, but I really would like, maybe I would only use the internet on my laptop for like absolutely urgent things, or anything like that. But otherwise, on my desktop, I can just disable Wi-Fi completely and have to deal with it. And I couldn't use the internet even if I want to. Sorry, I'm posting to r/Lisp for my next stream. It's scheduled. Okay, actually, I think I'll just link to it directly instead of making a text post. So it's 10 a.m. PST. Pacific Standard Time. So this is on to the Reddit post. If you have a Reddit account, you can upload it or whatever. It's just the thread. It's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's in about that's in about 16 hours from now. So. Yep, it's gonna be awesome. I still have to like do some exercises. I made my own like little exercise list for like mastering it before I go on stream and mess stuff up. So I'll probably do those exercises tonight after this stream, so I don't mess it up. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of getting distracted. Okay, blah, 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 blah. So I made upload content occur in bucket. We actually don't want to have that finished file upload like I did. I wonder if there's a way we can get the file bucket ID. Oh, we have to call that method. We have to make that CFFI method. Ah, jeez. I'm jumping around too much. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna have okay, so we're going to create a header. I don't know if we actually want this uploading file thing here. We definitely want this request or get bucket. So get bucket is going to return the bucket ID. Okay. So right here, get bucket is going to be get bucket and its return type is int, and yes, we need the pointer. Now, once we get the bucket, we're going to take that bucket and we want to set F on. Oh, wait a minute. We have that. Yeah, so. Okay, so. Gonna be set, so on the bucket, what is it, bucket ID? No, bucket, just bucket. To a new bucket, which is bucket. file bucket. That has this foreign. Oh, wait a minute, what is that? I think I had a different idea what I wanted to do there. Location and ID. Really just kind of want this to be a struct, but whatever. We'll deal with that later, but right now it just has an ID. Make instance. Oh. Ah. Okay. Oh. Oh, that's right. We need this result. So this is an anaphoric macro. That's an, I don't know if that'll work though. So that's an anaphoric macro right there. Alright, anyway, the reason I get bucket is there, because the session will exist, before the bucket is, set, so that'll be a null pointer. So anyway, we don't want this anymore. This is ugly as hell. Oh, actually, we can. Yeah, we want this to be a string. So we have this around the style bucket. We don't want to do that. We don't want that. I'm gonna comment this out. Alright, and so finish file, put contents up, file bucket. Okay. We don't want this here. We want to do finish file upload on take temp file location. So the temp file location is actually that's correct. Alright, so finish upload content, do we want that? Edit content, editor result, okay, has upload content, good. Okay, I'm gonna try to compile on this. Define but never use. Oh, so we need to undefined function set of bucket. I think that has to be enterprise. Quote is not a type list. Well, what? Body. There shouldn't be a problem there. Interesting. How is that illegal bank account? Alright. Why is it doing that? Instant file. That's fine. It's not working the way that I hoped. Parameters is defined, never used. same center. But we don't have that on. My bad. Okay, we don't have an accessor there, that's why. That works now. But now we get all those warnings. I want to say... Oh, I thought that would quote. Well, apply as if this is undefined, right? No, this is Lisp right now. I was doing a ton of C++ earlier. Yeah. Yeah, this is commonless right here. That's funny. Oh, actually, we want to do this. Still thinks it's undefined, huh? Interesting. I guess it just has to be like this. Oh, that's is that one? No. Almost of undefined variable body. I'm saying that function call is illegal. Again. variable if it's not used. Oh. I'm using a Kubuntu because I'm lazy. I used to use like Arch Linux and stuff. I'm using Emacs, that's why it's all like tiling and stuff. Environment not used. There's a list. Hit list P, no? What? Oh, no, what is the list? Okay, hit list P. That's no problem. Okay. Okay, now we got it. There's probably a utility for that. No, I don't know actually. Okay, so that works. Oh. Yeah, I messed up there. Alright, there we go. Alright, oh. serialize, I wanted to basically make that do something fancy. Okay, yeah, serialize. Oh, I didn't even put content there. Alright, I'm gonna be right back, okay? Get a drink. back. We are back. Alright, so you have like a lot of changes going on here. So I'm gonna actually move some of this stuff around. Alright, so we got that. CFFI utils, we're gonna make a function or a file. Actually, we can make it, I don't know. Okay. CFFI utils. Okay, so we're gonna have to, in the REPL, reload that. Okay, let's see. I thought maybe I guess we didn't need to load it before. So okay, we're gonna switch up the mix here. Okay, yeah, I was gonna write a macro that called a macro, or a method that called a macro. Whatever. Oh. Oh, my bad. Probably just wants to do that manually, to be honest, but I don't have a method for it. Wait, what? Oh, here we go. Upload content. Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah, we're doing that wrong. Oh, we didn't need this. Okay, that works now. Set file info. Yeah, that's okay. I don't think we really need to do that though. Kind of unnecessary and stupid. So instead, oh, it's because we wanted to maybe have some intermediary steps there, if I recall. Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't think we, let's see. Yeah, I don't think we really need that. Now that I think about it. Actually, wait a minute. This can be... So technically, I don't think we necessarily need to get that in here at all anyway. Oh, we can, let's see. Upload content's kind of contradictory. It just gives you a handle. So I feel like upload content should really be, taking this function here. So instead of doing this, maybe something like this. Horrible. Then that's too far and into. What the hell? Upload content. And then that means I kind of want finish upload content should trigger automatically. Maybe, I don't know. So so that should do so this is the content file. Where is it created? Okay, we don't. Okay. So we're gonna make that after. No, and this is and I actually want this to be over here. Then once we apply process, we can close handle. Okay, so apply process to with the handle and content, close the handle, and then that's it. And then this happens after, which finishes the file upload. So now we don't have to do this. So okay. Okay, cool. Now so that looks really simple, isn't it? Yeah, pretty damn simple. Content gets received here is the only thing. We don't have that, right? And then okay, callback. All right. So we don't have content there. Oh, we don't even need content there, that's right. Yeah, we don't. So we don't even need that there. So where we get this is we can just use this as the response, I think. Because this we can make the return type content. We just do that. We can do content. Like so. And wrap that in the serialized block. Well, Actually, this is better. Okay, cool. So that's pretty nice, huh? The only problem is alignment right now. So something like this. Kind of poor looking. That's bad. I really want this to be I don't know how to. Also, thanks for following me. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's yeah. It's man. There's only like one person on right now. It's probably everyone eating dinner or something. It's probably eating dinner. Alright. Yeah, it's all Lisp code. about food? Food sounds like a good idea. I'll be right back. Okay. Alright, I'm back. What? If exists, Alright, I'm gonna end the stream in a few minutes. Been streaming all day, so I don't know if I'll probably not do a part 3. I gotta actually work on something else. What? Okay, I'm gonna. I should be returning a stream though. Why are they not returning a stream? Oh. What? Wait a minute. Deleting unreachable code. Why is it saying that? I should be returning a handle. Oh, there's with open file. We can do that instead. Ah, still. That's interesting. Alright, well, I'm gonna end it here. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please check out my YouTube channel. Sorry, at the end of here, just have other stuff to do and so on. I'm doing a stream tomorrow morning. It's going to be my Comfy Lisp programming stream, so if you enjoy me programming in Lisp, you'll enjoy that stream. It's tomorrow at 10 a.m. You can go on it on YouTube or Twitch. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to be doing Comfy Lisp programming, so it's going to be really fun. Nothing too complex, just some multi-threading and, well, that might turn out to be complex, but yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.